Today I want to take you back to the scripture. We're going to talk about the table and how the table can be useful in replacing the pain of rejection with confidence and value. It is true that over 50% perhaps of those of you who are watching me have already been divorced. You maybe both have children. You are a blended family, or you're a visiting family. It's mom's house and dad's house from the kids' perspective. And there is a lot of pain. Divorce creates pain of rejection. There's nothing that you can do to change that. It is a fact of the human soul. But what you can do is create an environment where that pain of rejection can be healed and can be converted into confidence. So let's look at the scripture and see what the scripture says about how to do this. This is in 2 Samuel chapter 9, verse 7. And I'm just going to read one verse. It says, King David honored his covenant with Jonathan by restoring to Mephibosheth all the land that belonged to Saul, and elevating him by saying to him, "You will always eat at my table." Now, after the untimely death of Jonathan, King David sought for a way to honor the covenant that he had made with Jonathan's crippled son. Jonathan died, and there was an inheritance that was due to Mephibosheth, but Mephibosheth was a dependent. He was crippled, and someone always had to take care of him. If you can look at what happened to him when his dad died, strangers brought him in. There was no care for him. And David had lost contact with him and sent out to find him, brought him back to his palace, and said, "I'm honoring my covenant with my friend, your father, and I'm giving you my inheritance." But there was something that was your inheritance. But there was something that was interesting. Because if we look at it in psychological terms, that Mephibosheth had experienced abandonment. And you know, abandonment, whether it's emotional or physical, and many times in our families, it's both. When children lose contact with a parent, that is abandonment for them. They feel rejected, but they also feel abandoned, left not tended to. And abandonment always attacks someone's self-esteem, their sense of personal value. So be aware as step-parents that when children are visiting their father's home or their mother's home, they're not a visitor, although they're there only on a weekend. They are family. This is not the time to take them to the zoo, take them to the park, take them to the carnival. We always want to take them to play games and reward them, take them to the toy store, buy gifts. Those things do not heal their soul. It does not touch the human need of what abandonment is. It doesn't make them feel important or rebuild their confidence. But I'll tell you what we'll do. Prepare their favorite meal. Sit at the table, talk to them, play games at the table, create an environment where they feel loved. And at that table, and what the scripture said, David did. Now, Mephibosheth had all the money. He could now hire all the help, build his own castle if he wanted to. But here's what David said. We will elevate him and tell him that he will always have a place at my table. When you create a place for someone at your table, and they know it's their place at their table, it builds confidence in them. And David used the term elevation. It raises them to a new level and a new sense of importance and significance. Just think about it for you. When someone invites you to have a dinner with them, maybe you attend church together, you sit in the same section Sunday after Sunday, you do that shallow hi in the middle of worship. We don't meet each other. We don't get to know people. But if you invite them to lunch and you sit at a table for 30 to 45 minutes and you have meaningful conversation, you feel more important to them and they feel more important to you. Then why wouldn't we do this for our families? Why wouldn't we do this for people who are most important to us. It could be your mother, it could be your adult son or daughter that you haven't had contact with in a long time. And I'm going to be so bold to say, dads, do you have children that live somewhere else across the United States? You don't even know who they are, you don't know them. I don't care how old they are, find your children. And when you find your children, bring them to the table and allow the supernatural Redeemer, the redemption of the bread of the presence, to do and restore and elevate them in their sense of confidence and security in your love for them. Allow God to do in their life at your table what you cannot do on your own. Set the table for those who have been abandoned emotionally, sometimes by you, and let God restore and build confidence in them.